Apex can be a quite overwhelming game, whether you're brand new or coming back from previous seasons. What's up guys, my name is Valued, and today I'm going to go over 20 tips for new and returning players that are going to help you guys get acclimated with the game, start dominating in Season 12, and everything in between. With that out of the way though, let's get right into the tips. The first thing we've got to touch on are the maps. Olympus is back this season with some big changes as the ranked play map, with Kings Canyon and Storm Point making up the rest of the map pool. If you played Kings Canyon in the past, it's undergone some big changes, and Storm Point is a completely new map from Season 11. Getting your bearings on these maps will help your normal games a ton, but if you're planning on playing ranked to split, mastering the new Olympus should be the focus. While the map has a lot of the same POIs if you played it before, it has gone through a pretty big overhaul of the locations, and having a firm grasp on this map will set you up for success through the first half of the season. On the topic of playing unrated games, I recommend you stick with normals while you get your bearings. There's no reason for you to add any stress to your games while you're getting acclimated to the game or learning it from scratch. Stick to running pubs while you work out the kinks and learn the game, and then head your way into ranked when you're feeling comfortable. Trust me, you're gonna save yourself a lot of headache if you do it this way. Your comfort in the game has many aspects, but one of the biggest is your legend. Take the time early on to try out all the legends and see who you find the most success on. It's important to give every legend a shot as you unlock them, not only to understand the kit overall, but to see if they mesh well with your playstyle and preferences. Another benefit to this is you start to learn all the legends kits. If you don't know what a legend does and you run into them in game, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. This being said, once you do find a legend you seem to like, stick with it. The last thing you need while you're practicing every other aspect of the game is to be changing up your abilities or legend playstyle. After you have an idea of who seems cool or you're playing well on, stick with them and learn the game through their eyes, and then look to branch out from there. If you aren't sure who you should play as a brand new player, I'd recommend Bloodhound. It's a great pick that doesn't have a crazy high skill ceiling, but can still bring a ton of value to their team with their scan, and they have a lot of personal power with their ultimate. Alright guys, this tip is a big one for new players. On this channel, I preach a lot about warming up and practicing outside of the game, but it's for a good reason. Spending 10 minutes in the firing range to get your bearings and practice any sort of movement or weapon will pay off so much in your matches. And one thing you can't forget to practice is your aim. Aiming in Apex Legends is truly difficult. No matter if you just got the game today or you've been playing for years like me, it takes time. And one of the fastest ways to level up your aim is through Aim Lab. There, you can find custom drills and tasks designed to teach you how to aim like the pros in no time. With their top tier analytics, you truly can't go wrong. Check it out for free at the top link in the description below. So now let's talk through what other core mechanics you should put a focus on as you're learning or relearning the game. First off, the weapons are a big one, with each of them having a different feel depending on its ammo type and other little quirks for each gun. If you pick up a Havoc or a 30-30 for the first time in the game without having shot them before, you're not gonna have a great time. So instead of doing that, hop into the firing range and try out every single gun. You'll thank me later. Another major aspect that a lot of new players don't think about is movement, and the firing range is a great place to practice this. The slide jump is some basic movement that everybody should know, and you can practice it in the firing range as much as you'd like, and then level up to more complicated movements without worrying about dying in the game. Apex is incredibly dense, especially with the movement, so getting started early by checking out our most recent movement guide will help you out a ton. And what we're kind of hinting at here is a routine, which is a little bit of structure that you can add to your play sessions, which will go a long way towards your improvement. Taking those few minutes to hop into Aim Lab or the firing range before playing are massive, or taking a couple of minutes to think through each game as it comes to an end. These small habits that keep you focused on improving will have you feeling really confident in the game quickly, allowing you to enjoy yourself more and obviously start destroying your opponents. If you're the type of player looking to improve and want to be able to say you're better today than you were yesterday, build some good habits like this early on and stick to them. As you do work out a routine of how you like to do things during your play session, don't get stressed. The game has a lot to learn, and one thing I see a ton of new players doing is trying to learn everything at once. Honestly guys, you can't do this, especially if you're brand new. The best way to approach it is to pick one thing a day to focus on, whether that's learning a new gun or trying out new drops. No matter what you're trying to improve on, enjoy yourself, take your time, stay consistent, and I promise guys, the improvement will come. As you begin to get acclimated with your legend and the maps, think through your drops when you're loading into games. Where are you going? Do you think it'll be a contested drop? Has it been a contested drop when you landed there before? These types of questions are what you need to be asking yourself as you drop, and then taking the time after your games to determine how your drop went. I could go through every single POI on the map, but the bottom line is these types of decisions have to be made on the fly. And the best way to get good at finding good drops to start your games is simply to practice. Another thing worth thinking about off drop and throughout the game is the location of crafters in the game. These have become really powerful this season with the ability to craft a flatline and the longbow on top of all the other amazing stuff inside the crafter. This is a must know if you're looking to run these weapons or if you just want to become more powerful, because the bottom line is the crafter is OP. Now, that being said, these are likely to be contested locations, but don't sleep on how powerful it can be to have control of a POI with a crafter in Season 12. While we're chatting about weapon choice, make sure you're building loadouts that make sense. You want to ensure that you have close and long range covered, without having to use all of your inventory space to do so. While you can get away with running 2 automatic weapons that fit this requirement, this will often leave you with very little bag space due to having to carry so many bullets. Instead, even though it's hard, practice using guns like shotties, snipers, or even the wingman. These weapons can cover your close or long range requirements while only needing a stack or 2 of ammo. On top of this, they tend to have high damage with low fire rates, and it's important to be proficient with weapons like this, especially shotguns in the current meta. One of the biggest reasons you don't want to pack your bag full of ammo is so you have room for nades. Every ordnance in the game is strong, and if you can get good at using them, they can be game changers. From nading enemies in buildings to pushing them out of cover, nades become more and more valuable as the game goes on. So rather than carrying 400 light ammo, drop a few stacks and pick up a couple of nades. Now, on this note, all you new players, I'm looking at you because this tip right here is relevant to a lot of you. Make sure you're actually using the tools at your disposal. While you don't want to be spamming your abilities or grenades, you should always be looking for ways to get use out of them and using them as much as possible. I see so many players holding onto their ultimate, tactical, or grenades for just the right moment. But guys, if you die without using these things, it doesn't matter that you held onto them because now they've gotten no use. If you try to stay proactive in your games and don't go down without using everything you've got, you'll find a lot more success. Alright guys, so this one is a big one for my new friends to the game. Now, if you're new to the game or played in an earlier season, you might not be used to how prevalent third parties are. The chances of you taking a fight and having another team push you are very high. While you can scout or carefully choose your fight to prevent this to some degree, it's largely inevitable. With this in mind, it's best early in your journey to always assume another team is on their way to you and prepare for them in any way you can. One of the big ways you can quickly heal up for that other team pushing is to armor swap. This technique involves grabbing a shield out of an opponent's death box right away, instead of taking the time to pop a battery or other heals for your own. This can be done mid-fight if you thirst an enemy as well, but the general rule here is to go for an armor swap if it's available, as it's a much faster way than to heal in a pinch. Then, when things calm down and you win your second fight, or you can go back to looting, you can make sure that you're leaving there with the highest level Evo shield. But in the moment, don't worry about what Evo you're picking up, just make sure you're healthy. Speaking of Evo shields, this one is a good tip for new players. Always look to increase your armor level throughout the entire game. Whether you're farming your shield with damage in fights or by sniping enemies or just taking red armor off that guy you managed to take down, this should be a top priority for you in every game at every moment. If you play too passively and you don't get much loot, it's gonna be hard to win a game on full blue armor. One more thing to keep in mind in your gunfights is that enemies will be slowed for a quarter second whenever they take damage. This can be really helpful for landing consecutive shots, especially with single fire weapons like the Wingman. Instead of spraying and hoping for the best, look to hit your first shot with any weapon you use, and use the speed reduction to make hitting the rest of your shots even easier. Alright guys, and for our final tip today, find some teammates. Apex can be a great time solo, but playing with some like-minded players is always going to be more fun than flipping the coin with matchmaking. No matter what your skill level, there are a ton of players in your exact situation looking to improve at the game and have a good time. Now, you definitely can find these players while queuing up randomly, but a great way to find them is to join a Discord like ours and hit up the looking for group chat. Finding a friend or two to grind and talk about the game with will not only make it more fun, but will have you improving faster and winning more often. If you're interested in this, make sure to check out the link for our Discord in the description below. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for today's tip. I know I might have missed some good ones, but this video will serve as a solid entry point for players who need a refresher on some Apex knowledge, or for players who are looking to dive into the game for the first time. If there's any tips that you think a new player should know, make sure to leave them in the comments down below. As always guys, it's been your boy Valued. Make sure you sub if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.